host, The Stephen A. Smith Show, starts right now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love you every weekend over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. So make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. I don't sound the same. Matter of fact, I sound pretty crappy right now because my voice has faded from me. Hours of working, traveling, obviously losing my temper, dealing with the New York Knicks and not getting the number one overall pick in the draft. I had a conniption. And as a result, my voice is a bit shot right now. Not shot enough for me not to be over the airwaves, but shot from the standpoint of me not being my regular, energized, passionate, loud self. So nevertheless, you get the normal Stephen A. I'm not going to give you the Barry White Stephen A., the one with the mellow voice. You understand? The one that can sit up there and be a DJ for late night music, you know, the R&B, the slow jams, and all that stuff. I'm not going to give you that voice. Y'all ain't ready for that. But I will tell you that this is how I'm going to be sounding over the next couple of hours. You'll have to deal with it if you so choose. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Again, the number to call up is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. There's a lot of stuff to get into today, and one of the biggest stories developing and percolating is Zion Williamson, the imminent number one overall pick in next month's NBA draft. Obviously, the New Orleans Pelicans won the number one overall pick, and there is speculation as to whether or not he will or whether or not he even should consider doing what he can to ensure that he's not the number one overall pick of the New Orleans Pelicans, even if it meant going back to school and going back to Duke, because essentially he is eligible. He can return to Duke, number one. Number two, he never hired an agent nor signed a sneaker deal. So because of those two realities, there's no conflict as it pertains to NCAA bylaws, its rules and regulations. And as a result, if he desperately doesn't want to be in New Orleans, then you know what? He's got some options, albeit not really plausible ones in most of our minds. His stepdad spoke on a radio station in Baton Rouge, and we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. So I can tell you what his stepdad said about all of that, and I'll get back into that in just a second. But the first order of business is what I witnessed right here in Milwaukee, which is where I'm doing the show from on this particular day. I'll be here in Milwaukee today and tomorrow. I was here for last night's game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I'll be here for Friday night's game 2 for the Eastern Conference Finals. And I got to tell you something right now. I know that Toronto had as much as a 13-point lead. I know that Kawhi Leonard dropped 31 and Kyle Lowry dropped 30. I know that Toronto, the number 2 seed in the entire Eastern Conference, is a formidable foe. I'm not questioning any of that. But I got to tell you something. If what I saw last night was any kind of indication whatsoever, I have to be honest with you and tell you I am of the belief that the Milwaukee Bucks have this series in the bag. That it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me to see the Toronto Raptors are winning more than one game this series. I predicted they lose it in 7, a game 7 back in Milwaukee. But I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this ended in 5. You see, what you saw last night, in my opinion, the bad stuff in Milwaukee, you're not going to see for the rest of the series. You saw a team that was clearly rusty, shooting 11 of 44 from three-point range. You saw a team that appeared a bit discombobulated on offense. You saw a team that was rusty. And you saw a team that epitomized all of those things that I just said by shooting 11 of 44 from three-point range. That's 25%. And simply not having it for most of the game offensively. And then the fourth quarter arrived. And what happened? Kyle Lowry was absolutely sensational throughout the game, scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, ended up finishing with 30. But Kawhi Leonard scored 2 points in the fourth quarter on 0 for 3 shooting. The rest of the team collectively, Kyle Lowry hit 5 of his 7 shots in the fourth quarter. The rest of the team took 15 shots and made 0. Not a basket. Now, I don't know about y'all, but your future don't look too damn bright when something like that happens. How many nights I can expect when I saw Kawhi Leonard go into the lane and get a shot blocked by the 7'1" Brook Lopez, I can foresee that. When he ends up turning the ball over because he goes into the land of trees in Milwaukee, the Greek Freak Antetokounmpo, Brook Lopez, the 6'9" Chris Middleton, the 6'10" Nikola Mirotic, rather. I mean, these are trees that exist on Milwaukee's front line. If I can foresee him having those kind of struggles, you know what I can't foresee? I can't foresee the Greek Freak struggling from the field. I can't foresee Milwaukee continuing to miss the open shots that they had opportunities to hit because of the collapsing effort of the Toronto Raptors, all on the Greek Freak. I'm looking at Malcolm Brogdon come off the bench. This brother can shoot and he can play. I'm not underestimating. I'm not sleeping on that by any stretch. I'm thinking about all of these things. I'm monitoring and looking at all of these things. And I'm here to tell you something right now. This is no joke. So I just look at them right now. I look at this team, the Milwaukee Bucks, and I just believe that they're big, they're strong, they shoot perimeter shots, and collectively they absolutely positively defend. And when I look at it from that perspective, I don't know how Toronto can beat them because, you know what, like I was telling my man Max Kellerman, styles make fights. And if you are going up against the Milwaukee Bucks and you're the Toronto Raptors, you don't have the horses. By the way, Nick Nurse, it would help if you didn't put Marc Gasol out on the perimeter against Brook Lopez. That ain't going to work. You need to have somebody more quick of foot, like a Serge Ibaka out there. That ain't going to work. Marc Gasol trying to defend him. That's not going to work. Also, we got to remember the fact, too, that it wasn't just rust. It was also the fact that the Toronto Raptors threw Milwaukee off kilter to some degree, because what they did was they threw a 3-2 zone in Milwaukee's direction. A 3-2 zone. And dared them to be beat from the perimeter. So you can imagine how this must have thrown Milwaukee off. I don't anticipate that happening in game 2. I don't anticipate that happening in one of the games in Toronto. And as a result, I expect the Milwaukee Bucks to win this series relatively easily. I wouldn't be shocked. It can't ever go on 7. That would shock me. 6 wouldn't shock me that much. But I'm going to go with 5. I mean, I just don't believe it. I don't believe it, Toronto. Styles make fights. And that is that. Moving on to tonight's game 2 at the Oracle in Oakland, California, where the Warriors will host the Portland Trailblazers. That's a different scenario. Warriors are playing outstanding defense led by Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala. Steph Curry has exploded with his threes. Klay Thompson has helped with his threes. And you certainly, don't get me wrong, their defense is stellar. And that's not to say that Portland doesn't need to have people that steps up. Harkless dropped 17. Rodney Hood dropped 17. They ain't had bad games. Seth Curry had a bad game. Evan Turner didn't score a point in the game. That cannot happen. But I will tell you this. That ain't Portland's major problem. Portland's major problem is that C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard have to take over. The very two dudes that has carried them throughout this year, they got to do it again. Are they going to do it? Hell no. Portland's not winning this series. But can you win a game or two if you do that? Yes, you could. Yes, you could. And it's going to be real interesting to see what they actually do. Because it's going to be a challenge, make no mistake about it. There is no way around it, ladies and gentlemen. Steph Curry is catching fire. Klay Thompson is too. And when they do that, they are the best shooting backcourt in the history of basketball. Period. And I don't think Portland can beat them at all. I will tell you this stuff. All of this noise percolating about Kevin Durant and whether or not he's going to come back, let me state for the record, let me be very, very, very clear. Without Kevin Durant, the Milwaukee Bucks will beat the Golden State Warriors for the World Championship. You need Kevin Durant against these brothers. You need somebody that can look those trees in Milwaukee in the eyes and say, you know what? You can look down on everybody else, but I'm right here on your level and I'm going to bust your butt. Because this is what I bring to the table. There's nothing you can do about it. Everybody's going to be fascinated. The Greek Freak against Kevin Durant. Oh, my God, what a matchup. Yeah, what a matchup. But be very, very clear. The Greek Freak is dominant and as awesome as he is. Offensively, in terms of dissecting one's offensive repertoire, you ain't even in Kevin Durant's league. It ain't even close. You're inside, he's outside. So know that. Know that. Milwaukee and Golden State seem to be on a collision course. And to me, Milwaukee will win the championship unless Kevin Durant comes back. They will win the championship this year unless Kevin Durant comes back. 888-SAY ESPN is the number to call. It's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Something else I want to get into before I go to the callers. I had heard about this, and then I saw the jump yesterday on ESPN where Brian Windhorst reporting it. Zion Williamson, the projected #1 overall pick in the upcoming NBA draft. His rights belong to the New Orleans Pelicans. I called the league office and checked. Zion Williamson has no certified sports agent. Nor has he signed any sneaker deal where money is being funneled to him. And under those two conditions, he's eligible to return to Duke. Now, let me be very, very clear. Because I saw Jalen on Get Up this morning. I saw other people talking before First Take was to come on. And I'm like this, yo, nobody's saying that Zion Williamson is going back to Duke. Nobody's saying that. Nor are we saying that he should. But let's call it what it is, please. Does Zion Williamson look happy to you when the Pelicans won the #1 overall pick? Didn't look happy to me. Not at all. And since he didn't look happy, my attitude is this. If you're Zion Williamson, what is the matter with you? Saying, quote, I really don't want to be here. I'm not talking publicly. I'm talking whispering in the ear of David Griffin. Whispering in the ear of Alvin Gentry. I don't want to be here. So can we work out some kind of draft day trade or something? I don't want to be here. That's all he has to say. These people that are walking around acting like it's so sacrilegious, you need to be careful. It's not a good look. Because it's not precedent set. Listen, Kiki Vandeweghe did it in 1980. I have the notes right in front of me. Originally drafted by the Dallas Mavericks in 1980 as the 11th overall pick. He refused to show up. His decision lasted about the first month of the season or into the first month of the season. until the Dallas Mavericks decided to trade him to the Denver Nuggets for 2 future first-round picks. Danny Ferry, the former interim GM, for the New Orleans Pelicans. 1989, 9 years later. He spent a year playing in Italy because he didn't want to suit up for the Los Angeles Clippers. He didn't want to play for them. Or the San Diego Clippers, rather. While he was abroad, the Clippers traded his rights to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Ferry came back to the United States after it happened. He was willing to go overseas and play rather than come play for the Dallas Mavericks. Kobe Bryant never had to say anything because Jerry West was doing his bidding. But Kobe Bryant had no intentions of showing up to Charlotte. He didn't want to go there. He wanted to be in LA. And Jerry West was about making that happen. So what I'm trying to say to you is that could easily be Zion Williamson. And I'm not saying to nullify, I'm not disrespecting David Griffin or Coach Alvin Gentry in any way. Alvin Gentry did an outstanding job. He did an outstanding job last season in light of that whole Anthony Davis fiasco. And David Griffin is a quality general manager. And I got news for you on him. David Griffin is going to make the best deal possible. He's smart. But here's what I'm trying to tell all of you. If you're Zion Williamson, what's the matter with you whispering in David Griffin's ear and say, look, I don't want this to be an Anthony Davis situation 3 to 5 years down the road. I'm letting you know right now, I don't want to come to New Orleans. What's the problem? Why is everybody acting like that would be such a crime? Since when? It's not a crime. If that's where he doesn't want to be, that's where he doesn't want to be. Period. Now, that's not what his stepfather is saying, however. His stepdaddy, and we get ready to play for you right now, the stepdaddy went on an ESPN radio station in Baton Rouge and said something totally different than a scuttlebutt we have been hearing about 24 hours. Listen to this.
There's been a lot of national stories about Zion maybe returning to school, doing this or that. How do y'all feel about potentially coming to the Crescent City?
We're excited. We're excited about that. One thing that Zion has always been taught, you accept the things that you can't change, you change the things that you can change, and this is one of the things that he had nothing to do with. It's the process of the NBA, and certainly, we're excited about the Crescent City down there in New Orleans. And you said about returning to Duke, there's been a lot of speculation, but that is nothing that we have even considered.
There you have it. The stepdad, Lee Anderson, Zion Williamson's stepfather, says it hasn't even been considered. So if you are Zion and you don't want to go to New Orleans, that's the worst thing you could have had happen, because that means your stepdaddy spoke out of pocket and he spoke for you, and he had no business doing that. However, if you're willing to accept it, New Orleans is good, because then they can move ahead as scheduled. All I'm saying, and I'm not encouraging one way or the other, if you don't have a certified agent, if you don't have a sneaker deal, if you're not in violation of any NCAA rules or regulations, you're perfectly free to go back to play for Duke. I'm not advertising that, particularly when both R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish have declared for the NBA draft. Those are two of your teammates. They're not going to be there anymore. We get it. I understand it. You're not going back to Duke. And you damn sure ain't thinking about going overseas. But here's what I'm saying. The man hasn't been drafted yet. If you haven't been drafted yet, what is wrong with Zion Williamson simply telling David Griffin and Alvin Gentry, look, fellas, nothing but respect for you, but I don't want to be here. So I'm letting you know right now, look, I got to accept what I got to accept, but you're going to be drafting somebody that doesn't want to play for you. The Pelicans just had to deal with that Anthony Davis fiasco. They'll probably have to be on the phone thereafter. Why? Because, it's one of those situations where They got to get rid of Anthony Davis. His situation is status quo. He ain't thinking about changing his mind. He's not thinking about changing whether or not he wants to be in New Orleans or not. He's convinced he wants out. So if Anthony Davis wants out and you have to deal with what Alvin Gentry had to deal with all of last year and what a headache that was with minutes restrictions and then other nights he wasn't going to play and, you taking him out in the fourth quarter, clearly losing games that you should win. If Anthony Davis was in the lineup, though, the games you would have won. You're going through all of this. And then you're going to revisit it again because your star rookie doesn't want to be there for you? To me, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't make sense. I have no problem. I'm not encouraging Zion Williamson one way or the other to do anything. What I'm saying to you is there is nothing wrong if he whispered in David Griffin's ear and said, I'm not looking to be here. Rather than them having to revisit this 2-3 years down the road again, like they're doing with Anthony Davis now. Just a thought. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Jacob, real quick, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hi, Stephen A. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. Go ahead, man.
I just wanted to say, if you were Zion Williamson personally, what would you do? Would you go back to Duke?
Yo, man, do you have a voice problem like me?
Yeah.
You do? Because I was getting ready to ask you, why the hell you sounded so low? Raise your voice so my audience can hear you. Speak up.
What would you do personally if you were Zion Williamson?
What I just said. I would whisper in David Griffin's ear and say, I don't want to be here. And I just want to let you know, I'm not going to make a public spectacle of it. I'm not going to say these things publicly, but privately, I'm telling you, I would prefer not to be here. That's what I would do. And then let the chips fall where they may. Thank you so much for the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Michael Collins, golf reporter on golf at ESPN, covering Tiger Woods, PGA Championships. He'll be on with us in just a few minutes. Plus, I'll get back to your phone calls in a minute. So stick around. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A. Smith right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. That was Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less, only at Walmart. By the way, people, I'm here to tell you about Zelle, a quick and easy way to send and receive money right from your banking app. Not sure what to get someone for their birthday, graduation, or housewarming? Send them money with Zelle, a truly one-size-fits-all present, so they can buy whatever they want. The money goes directly into their bank account, typically within minutes if they're already enrolled with Zelle, so they don't have to wait long to spend it on the perfect gift for themselves. Look for Zelle in your banking app or get more info at ZellePay.com. That's ZellePay, ZELLE Pay.com. Terms and conditions apply. I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody. My brother Bomani Jones is in another booth looking at me. I love that brother. I don't want to talk to you today. I've got producers who have been very, very good to me. I've got bosses who have been very, very good to me. I've got co-workers that I love. I don't want to talk to anybody. My godson, Jonathan Barnes, is sitting right in front of me, and I don't want to look at him. I'm ticked off. I mean, this is just, and Sean Farnham on Get Up this morning with Mike Greenberg, him and his Benedict Arnold self, walking around having shows on television in the morning, acting like this is just a good day to just laugh. It's always a laugh with the New York Knicks for non-New York Knicks fans. I thought Mike Greenberg was a good man. I thought he was a person that didn't like to watch people suffer. And then that damn Pablo out there with Bomani, he's standing in the hallway laughing at me too. This is not funny. It's not funny. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible day. I don't know about the rest of yous. I don't know about the rest of yous. But if you are a Knicks fan, this is the equivalent of being kidnapped, stored in a basement, being tortured, and then they let you out when you're of no use to anybody. I mean, you just can't make this up. I'm telling you right now, I got an attitude with everybody. Every damn body. Even that damn Spike Lee, I heard he's in the Philippines. He's lucky he's not New York City.
A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Oh, kick that music, please. Kick that music. Here, where I love to be, doing what I love to do. Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Home Insurance. Get your quote at progressive.com today. Also, need seats to a game? Download the Vivid Seats app and enter promo code CHAMPS at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Don't buy just any seat. Get a Vivid seat. Any minute now, we're waiting for my colleague. I think he is there right now. He is before I even introduce my brother, I got to let everybody know that Tiger just finished his first round today, PGA Championships, Bethpage. He is tied for 58th. He did a +2 today. He's 9 shots back of the leader, which is Brooks Koepka. But who better to talk about this than my brother? My man covers golf for ESPN, does an outstanding job of doing just that. Was just on my show First Take this morning on ESPN, which comes on every weekday from 10 a.m. to noon with Max and Molly and yours truly. He was on that show with us this morning as well. I'm talking about the one and only Michael Collins. He's on the line with me right now. What's up, my brother? How are you?
Man, I am fantastic. And, bro, what a roller coaster ride for our boy Tiger Woods today. It started out not so good, and we chatted on First Take this morning. On the back nine, Tiger makes the turn, and it looks like a new Tiger Woods. Looked like the Tiger Woods who was at the Masters. He birdies 3 holes in a row, and it's like, game on. Here we go. He's going to make this comeback. Got it to 1 under after making an eagle on one of the par 5s on his back nine, and then it just all fell apart. Hit a couple of 3 putts. Just looked a little bit out of sorts. And don't you know, the dude who's in the lead of this golf tournament, Brooks Koepka, shoots a course record, bogey-free 63, staring Tiger in the face. Dude was playing in the same group as Tiger Woods and dropped that kind of score on this golf course. I actually spoke to the other brother that's out on the PGA Tour, Harold Varner III. He played early today as well. Finished at 1 over par 71. And when I saw him on the driving range, HV3 said, hey, you know what? There's a good score out there if you can put it in the fairway. And Brooks was doing that. He was hitting fairway after fairway. But then I looked at HV3's coach who was standing next to him. He shook his head and laughed and goes, yeah, no, that ain't out there. That's 6. And Brooks was 6 under at the time.
Michael Collins, talk to me, though. Let's go back to Tiger Woods in this regard. You said that he started off strong and then he faded. Where exactly did he fade, and why do you think it happened?
Well, he didn't start off strong. That's the thing. He started off making a double bogey on the 10th hole. He started on number 10, one of the hardest holes out here. And on his first 9 holes, he made 2 double bogeys and a birdie. So he was +3 when he made the turn. What it looked like was the 2 wedge shots that he had from short range flew over the green, and all that is rust from not playing. So what he looked like a guy who hasn't played golf since the Masters, which is a month. And then he looked comfortable when he made the turn. and he made those birdies, and then he dropped that eagle, and it was like, yes, this is the Tiger that I remember. But just that fast, when you make a three-putt and you grind and you fight that hard to get back up into red numbers and somewhat into contention, once you have a three-putt and make a bogey, you feel like all of that work that you did just crashed and burned. And the adrenaline crash that happens, bro, it's real. And that's exactly what happened to Tiger Woods. Once that adrenaline crash happened, you slump those shoulders just a little bit, and one bogey turns into three. And that's exactly what happened to Tiger.
Talking to Michael Collins, golf analyst extraordinaire for ESPN, right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. When Tiger won the Masters, I know that you had felt that he would not win one again. I know I felt like he wouldn't win one again. When he ultimately won the Masters, talk to me about what went through your mind. I know I'm not asking you about your relationship with Tiger per se, because I know he's a friend, you know him. I'm asking you what went through your mind when you finally saw him achieve that and accomplish that major, which I thought he would never do again. But by him doing so, I now think the path is clearly set for him to ultimately catch Jack Nicklaus's 18 majors and surpass him. You say what to that?
See, I'm not in the same boat as you when it comes to can he catch Jack Nicklaus just because he won the Masters. I'm of the thought, and I'll be the first one to admit too, I was right with you, and we talked about this on this show probably last year. I did not believe Tiger could win another major, but I believe that he could win golf tournaments. When he won the Masters in April, I'll be the first one to admit, as a guy who caddied on the PGA Tour for 10 years, when he hugged Joe LaCava and then pushed him away and yelled at him, "We did it," man, tears flow for me, man. I'm not going to lie, because I understand what it took for him and for Joe. You got to remember, Joe sat at home for 8 months with dudes calling, "Hey, man, come caddy for me, come caddy for me." Nah, I'm good. I'll wait for my boy. So that kind of belief in your player, and then seeing Tiger breaking through. The other thing that hit me the hardest was when I was leaving the Masters, there were two brothers that was working in the media center, and they had been there for a while. And I knew them and had a relationship with these guys because I've known them for so long. And as I'm walking out, I was upstairs, and then I went downstairs to the locker room. And both guys, one was upstairs and one was downstairs, both guys looked at me and goes, "Yo, Mike, we did it." And I couldn't even speak to them because they put a big lump in my throat, because that's what it felt like. It felt like they said, "We did it again."
But here, let me interject. But my point is that if you're holding on to that emotion, then why do you believe why do you not believe he's going to catch Jack Nicklaus?
Just because I'm friends with somebody and I believe and was emotionally invested in what they were doing at the time, it would be dishonest of me not to tell the truth about.
No, I understand that.
No, but I'm just saying. I'm saying because guys like Brooks Koepka are out here. Look, nothing feels better for a golfer or any athlete whatsoever. If you're going to get a chance to beat a dude when he's at his best, that feels better than beating a guy when he's hurt or when he's not playing good. So guys like Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy, and you go down the list as far as you want. Look at John Rahm. He ain't even won a major yet. Dudes like that are licking their chops to get a shot at Tiger, thinking, "Hey, just bring your best game, whatever you got left in the tank." Because remember, this is a 4 back surgery, spine-fused Tiger Woods. So when everyone's like, "This is great, Tiger's healthy." Well, yeah, but he's as healthy as he's going to be. He's not as healthy as Brooks Koepka. He's not as healthy as Dustin Johnson or John Rahm or Rory McIlroy. He ain't as healthy as those dudes, but they still want a shot at him. And just because Tiger won the Masters, it's not like all of these dudes that are out here now are like, "Yo, we ain't got to play as good no more. We're not going to practice as hard because Tiger's back, so we can just let him have it." Nah, it don't work like that. You know that in sports.
Michael Collins right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. So now that he's 9 back after round 1, I assume that you don't anticipate that he'll win the PGA Championship. Talk to me about Jordan Spieth, though. Is he going to make a bounce-back performance this weekend?
I don't know if this is the week when he can actually do that here at this tournament. He's got some demons going on right now. Brooks Koepka right now just looks unbeatable. Earlier this week, before the tournament started, I said I thought Tiger would finish between 15th and 25th, and I'm sticking by that. I still think he can have a nice comeback, and I still think he can finish respectable for a guy who hasn't played since the Masters. That being said, you see a guy like John Rahm who hits it long and straight. You see a guy like, even though Dustin Johnson made a bogey on his first hole, these guys who are out here right now, Jordan Spieth especially, you talk about him, his nickname is the Golden Child because of what he did in 2015. But in 2015, Jordan Spieth, and I talked to one of my buddies who played on the PGA Tour for a long time, Jason Gore said something, and I was like, you know what, that's true. Golf is easy when you can play like you don't care. Golf gets a lot harder when you start caring. And right now, Jordan Spieth cares way too much. So can Jordan Spieth get back to a place where he's playing golf like he don't care? Maybe. I think he might be able to get there, but right now it's not going to be available just because he cares way too much.
Michael Collins, appreciate you as always, man. Go back there and cover that PGA Championship, man. We'll be talking to you down the line. Thanks so much.
Man, it makes me so happy to know now that me and you can actually talk golf a little bit and that you want me on talking golf. I know I'm doing something right if I get to talk to you, my friend.
You know that's right. Because if you couldn't talk golf, I wouldn't have you on. You know me. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you as well, brother. Have a good one. Thank you.
Take it easy. The one and only Michael Collins for ESPN on golf. Right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. 888-SAY-ESPN is the number to call up. It's 888-729-3776. Midway through hour number 2 of today's show, we will have the heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder, on the show with us, talking about some things. Plus, he's being investigated by the Boxing Commission just for a comment he made, which I find utterly ridiculous on their part. But I'll get into what that's all about in just a minute. 888-SAY-ESPN. You're listening live, Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, fellas, stop lounging around. Be active. Take your girl out. Go to a game or a concert. Get tickets to something. The NBA playoffs are heating up and the time is now to jump on those good seats. So for all your ticket needs, look no further than Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Go to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN to get 10% off your first order. Get out, go have an experience, fellas. Get to the game and use Vivid Seats. Don't buy just any seat. Get a Vivid. I mean, damn it! It never, ever, ever goes our way. And that damn Golick and Wingo on the radio show this morning, Trey Wingo, it's a Golick calling me up. We just want to make sure you're okay. You don't care. You can pretend all you want. You didn't care about me. Adrian Wojnarowski, our ultimate insider. You see that look of glee on his face? I know he's objective. I know he's just giving you out the information. But did he have to have that smile on his face, Nuno, when he was giving us the news about the New York Knicks? And that damn Mark Tatum, the deputy commissioner of the NBA, him too. I got an attitude with him too. Why the hell does he have to hold those cards? I bet you if somebody else was holding, I bet you if Adam Silver was the one announcing the picks, the Knicks would have had the number 1 overall pick. I'm blaming Tatum too. The Knicks can't catch a break to save their damn lives. Can't catch a break. All you want, you gave us James Dolan all of these years. We can't win basketball games. We can't be relevant. Prior to this, last 20 years, it was the Patrick Ewing era, but Michael Jordan kept standing in his way, and Dave Checketts kept lying to us, making us believe we had a chance with Jordan when we knew good and damn well we never had a chance. Before that, you got the Trent Tuckers and Rory Sparrows of the world. Before that, you had Bernard King, or even during that. New York Knicks haven't won a title since 1973. I was 5 years old. 5. I'm 51 years old. It is 46 years and counting that the New York Knicks haven't won a title. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Had they gotten Zion Williamson via the number 1 overall pick last night, it'd have felt like a title. But we couldn't even get that. I blame the Knicks organization too. What the hell you bring Patrick Ewing up there for? He's not Dave DeBusschere, God rest his soul.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith Podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One, hey, what's in your wallet? Capital One, NA member, FDIC. Back to the phones we go before hour number 2 kicks off. Let's go to Jamie. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A., how are you?
I'm all right. Go ahead.
Actually, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have asked that question because I can still hear some depression from the Knicks in your voice. I'm so sorry about that.
Whatever. Go ahead.
I want to talk about LeBron because I feel like he's not going to be a Laker next season. I have a feeling that he's going to go to one of 2 teams. He's going to either go to Sacramento or he's going to go to the Knicks.
LeBron James, the New York Knicks don't have the assets to acquire LeBron James via a trade. And as it pertains to Sacramento, LeBron James will retire first before you move him. Not to mention the fact that the Los Angeles Lakers, with his contract, while he does not have a no-trade clause, he has a 15% trade kicker. Here's what that 15% trade kicker means. Let's say, for example, that LeBron James was owed $100 million left on his contract. If you were to trade him to Sacramento, he would have to be paid $15 million up front almost immediately in order for the deal to be consummated because he has a 15% trade kicker. So it's prohibitive in certain respects because most teams would never want to pay that money, even to him. And that is why your argument makes no sense. But good try. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Mark. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Mark.
Hey, Stephen A. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on.
All right, go ahead.
I just wanted to talk to you about the Knicks. I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I'm in Tampa, but I've been a Knicks fan forever. I think people aren't putting enough emphasis on the importance of the additional picks that they got from Dallas because despite the Pelicans getting the number 1 pick, you still have to factor in whether or not Anthony Davis wants to be there. And if he doesn't want to be there, I think the 3rd pick overall that we got, plus maybe additional picks, will entice them to move him because they're not going to want to lose him for nothing. So I really think that the number 3 pick, even though we didn't get the number 1 pick overall, we still have a chance at the top 3 players in the draft because everybody's saying it's a 3-player draft. I think that with that and the flexibility that we have in free agency, I really see us improving this team significantly. Because I still don't think that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I gotta go. I appreciate the call. I hope you're right. I would tell you that Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, if the New York Knicks get them, then obviously they're moving in an incredibly forward direction. You've got some people that ain't high on Kyrie. They want KD and Kemba. Or, of course, anybody would take KD and Kawhi over KD and Kyrie. But Kawhi ain't planning on coming to the Knicks. So who knows? We'll talk about that as we move forward. Hour number 2 up next. More of this draft talk on Zion, more NBA playoff talk, and Deontay Wilder. Hour number 2 up next.
A. Smith Show starts right now.
Stephen A. Smith Show. Coming at you over the airwaves from ESPN America. Check your AM, FM listing nearest you, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM, Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888 say ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Barbasol. Hey, sports fans, Barbasol is offering you a chance to score big when you join the Barbasol Shave Club. Grab your premium starter kit for just $1.99 today with code SHAVE at Barbasol.com. Plus, the NBA playoffs are on ESPN Radio, presented by Indeed. Tune in tonight for Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals as Curry and the Golden State Warriors host Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. Before I get back to the calls about Zion, about the draft, about the NBA playoffs, etc., I want to transition to a little football item. Two things. One concerns the Jets, my apologies. And the other story concerns someone who was once a Giant. First things first, Le'Veon Bell. You know, it's hard for me to put this in the words because, you see, here's what I'm focused on. Le'Veon Bell is no quiet boy. He's been suspended a couple of times. He's been injured on numerous occasions, holding out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's not some innocent kid in all of this. There are things he could have done better. There are better decisions that he could have made throughout his career, although he's established himself as one of the best in the game today, no question. But when I witnessed what happened with the New York Jets yesterday, where Mike Maccagnan and one of his subordinates were relieved of their duties by Charles Johnson of the New York Jets, and Adam Gase not only remained as the head coach, but now he's the interim GM until they find a GM, I got to confess to y'all, I'm absolutely appalled. Ladies and gentlemen, what did Adam Gase do to deserve the Jets head coaching job? He coached 3 years in Miami. 3 years in Miami. 1 year, the first year he went to the playoffs. The next 2 years he missed. What the hell did he do to deserve to be the interim GM, to have even more responsibilities? He gets the New York Jets job. He disagrees with the money, according to Le'Veon Bell. I understand all the cap implications, the salary cap implications. Don't call me up here talking about that because I understand it. I get it. What I'm challenging everybody is to dig a little deeper than that. You just got the head coaching job with the New York Jets. Who the hell are you to come in there talking about you need X, Y, and Z in order to win? You applied for the job. You wanted the job. You were booted out of Miami. What did you do? What did you accomplish? See, this is why the Jets are the Jets. This is why the New England Patriots dominate the AFC East. The Jets, Buffalo, Miami, doesn't matter. Decisions. Even though I'm rooting for Miami. Some changes that took place there. And I'm rooting for them. But let me tell you something. I'm disgusted with the New York Jets. Listen, you want to get rid of Maccagnan? Get rid of him when you got rid of Todd Bowles. Clean house, I understand. But how do you get rid of Todd Bowles? You keep Maccagnan. You let him go through another draft for you. And then after you do all of that, now you're going to let him go and elevate Adam Gase of all people. Adam Gase hasn't even had a chance to pass gas as a member of the New York Jets. But now he running things. Why the hell that happened? What did he do to deserve that? And I'm starting to get very, very uncomfortable with stuff that I'm seeing. And I'm going to go here because, damn it, I feel like it. And I know, let me preface my comments. I know these are just football decisions. They have nothing to do. Nobody's looking at some candidate and they're saying, well, you know, you're black, I don't want you. You're white, I do want you. I'm not accusing anybody of that. That's not where I'm going. That's not what I'm thinking. What I'm trying to do is give a voice to the voiceless for those from minority communities, to those who are not from minority communities, to highlight the discrepancy, to show you, even though that may not have been the motivational factor behind the decision, please understand that when those decisions occur, even though they're not based on race, people from disenfranchised communities, people from the minority community says, that doesn't happen for us. You can't do the job that Adam Gase did in Miami and have this going on with you for the New York Jets if you were a black person. You missed the playoffs 2 years in a row, 2 years, 3 years. There was really nothing ultra impressive that you did. You get the head coaching job in New York. You come and have a press conference. And although I'm not accusing him of being anything, I'm just teasing him facetiously. The way his eyes were looking during that press conference, he looked high. Somebody's got to say it. I'm going to say it. He looked high. He looked zooted. He looked like he was puffing and passing about 10 minutes before that press conference. That's how Adam Gase looked. And now we hear that he's the interim GM, that he had something to do with the Jets' decision to get rid of Mike McCagnon? Really? Really? That he didn't want that money invested in the Le'Veon Bell. Well, let's look at the money invested in the Le'Veon Bell. $52.5 million. Incentives that could raise it to $61 million. $25 million in guaranteed money. My whole point to y'all is this. Any other time we look at the guarantee. So let's look at the guarantee now. Forget the $61 million. Forget the $52.5 million. Le'Veon Bell ain't worth $25 million. Le'Veon Bell ain't worth $25 million. Even though he sat out last year. Even though you don't have a definitive number one receiver. Even though you got a second-year quarterback that needs requisite weapons, not just out of the backfield, but as a dual threat as well. Le'Veon Bell ain't worth $25 million in guaranteed money. Then we hear that Adam Gase not only had a problem with that, but probably had a problem with C.J. Mosley getting about $43 million guaranteed when they just picked him up from the Ravens. I got it. I'm not even saying I disagree with the position. I'm saying who the hell is Adam Gase to be able to usurp anybody's authority and be able to make those kind of decisions? What the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on? And just yesterday, we was hearing about the Jets and their GM prospects, and we heard the name of some guy, Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network. I think that's his name. Was that his name? Let me tell you something. I've seen him on TV. He's done a pretty damn good job. Informed, knowledgeable, good presence on television. Same thing I'd say about Mike Mayock for the Oakland Raiders. Ladies and gentlemen, they were analysts on television. How the hell you get in a position to be an executive for a National Football League team with zero executive experience in the profession whatsoever? All of these people live, eat, and breathe NFL football, have toiled through the terrain for decades, starving for an opportunity. And some dude that's never been in that position or any of those subordinate positions ever in their life are taken from the NFL Network and placed in executive roles. You think that's happening for a minority? Am I making y'all uncomfortable yet? Because I have to admit, I sincerely hope I am. I hope that you got your hair standing up on your skin. I hope that you're shivering in your chairs. I hope that you're sitting up there and moving around your neck, doing everything. I hope you are as uncomfortable as hell. When does that happen? For anybody but white folk. See, these are the questions because you got to understand, it's about relationships, right? So what are you telling me? There's no black folks that have those relationships? And if that's true, why is that? Could it be that there's no diversity at the top to ingratiate diversity into the equation so it's not just happening for people on this one side of the fence? This is the National Football League. This is the number one sport in America. This is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. And we are pulling people off of the NFL Network. Or in John Lynch's case, even though he played, but no executive experience. And I actually think he's doing a good job at San Francisco. But that's not the point. The point is, how'd you get to that position? No experience whatsoever. How'd that happen? Am I making you uncomfortable? I hope I am. I hope y'all sitting up there throwing something at the TV right now, or clicking, or crashing your radio. I hope you're looking at me and ready to throw something at me. I don't give a damn. This is ridiculous. Where's my call? Hell with it. I don't want the job, and I certainly don't want to take the job from Steve Mills in New York, and I wouldn't have wanted to take the job from Magic Johnson when he was there in LA. But I wouldn't mind getting a call from the Knicks or the Lakers to be president of basketball operations. All I got to do is be on TV, right? And be pretty damn good at it. I too can be a president of operations for a professional sports team, or a GM for a professional sports team. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But it's happening. And if Mike Mayock or Daniel Jeremiah are listening anywhere, my apologies. I mean to cast no aspersions upon you. You guys were great doing television. You were incredibly informed and knowledgeable. Nobody is questioning your knowledge. Nobody is questioning the job that you did on television. Nobody is questioning your competence. And I genuinely hope, sincerely from the bottom of my heart, that you both do a good job. In the event that Daniel Jeremiah ultimately gets this Jets job, which I'm not sure will happen. And of course with Mike Mayock, who's already in Oakland. And John Lynch is doing a fabulous job in San Francisco, or at least a good job. And he played the game. That's not where I'm going. I unfortunately have to use you all as examples to highlight a discrepancy and a flagrant level of unfairness when it comes to opportunities according to some that would never get accorded to others. That's what I'm doing. It's not about you personally. It's about anybody that's in your position that got to your position that way. That is not right. And guess what? It's not right to a bunch of white folks in the NFL that waited years and years and years starving for an opportunity of such, but didn't have the luxury of being on TV and having friends in those high places. So they're black folks and other minorities aren't the only ones getting screwed over. There's white people getting screwed over too, that are qualified, that have toiled the terrain, and that have deserved, have worked to deserve an opportunity that has been flat out given to y'all. It ain't right. And somebody needs to say it. Hoarse voice and all. So damn it, if I have to lose my voice saying it, I'll do it. And if I made you uncomfortable, let me tell you something. I don't give a damn. I'm not talking about Mayock Lynch and in the case of Daniel Jeremiah. I'm talking about folks out there who are uncomfortable with what I say. I mean it. It ain't right. Now back to the Jets real quick. Adam Gase does not deserve to be in a position to be making any kind of decisions other than X's and O's about his football team. Doesn't deserve it. But he's doing it anyway. And I am not coming to the defense of Le'Veon Bell. And I certainly wouldn't come to the defense of an Odell Beckham Jr. on a different front, because even though it's voluntary OTAs, as I said on First Take this morning, you got traded from the Giants for a reason, and it wasn't your talent. It was because of the distraction you were perceived to be. And the fact that the coach, the general manager, and ownership got tired of having to talk about you, about non-football, on-field football-related matters. Or in some cases, on football field-related matters. So you wanted to turn over a new leaf and have a fresh start and be in Cleveland and having a ball. Odell Beckham Jr., if you're listening, you didn't do anything wrong per se. It's voluntary. It's voluntary. OTAs, I get it. But you know what that's going to cause. You know that coach, Freddie Kitchens, who's a rookie, is going to be there answering questions about you. You know good and damn well that your absence is going to put the quarterback Baker Mayfield and others in a position where they're constantly having to ask questions about you instead of what they want to talk about, which is football. You know that. And so to give folks ammunition like that after you've just arrived. I just don't think it was wise. And I think it's people gonna say Odell being Odell, and it's the Giants sitting back saying, see what we were talking about? Watch, this is just the beginning. That's what they're saying about you. You ain't the New England Patriots. You ain't delivering Super Bowls. You ain't gonna have winning the gloss over the troubles or the headaches they say you cause. And Odell Beckham Jr. has to be mindful of that. That's just my personal opinion. 888-SAY ESPN. You listen live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. My man Carlton, it's been a long time, buddy. Sorry about my voice. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. My voice just went out on me last night, that's all, but I'm feeling good. What's up?
Well, I got a prediction. The New York Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers will have better seasons than expected in comparison to the Raiders and Browns and Jets, who will all have worse seasons than expected. We're in May, Stephen A. And Le'Veon Bell, the guy who mucked up the Steelers' start of the season the last 4 years in a row and was absent from the playoffs 3 out of the 4, his final 4 years with the Steelers, and I'm not counting last year when he wasn't even on the roster, has already gotten the GM and the vice president of player personnel fired because, they believe McCagnon way overpaid for this guy. The Jets lost 2 of their starting linemen this past year. By the way, that was an offensive line that produced a rushing attack that was 29th in yards per rushing attempt, right at the bottom of the league. Now, they did pick up a guard from the Raiders who they're paying big dollars to. We'll see how they integrate him into the line. But my prediction is that Le'Veon Bell will be a shell of himself compared to running behind that Steelers offensive line that he enjoyed for all those years that he was a relative success in Pittsburgh. And the only reason I say relative success is, again, he was absent from the playoffs 3 out of the 4 years, his final 4 years playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. These guys, these divas that cause problems above and beyond their production output, they're just not worth it. I'll be shocked if any of them produce. And, of course, Odell with Landry, his friend Landry there, has the best opportunity to actually produce, and the expectations are highest for the Browns. But if it starts to go south even there in terms of wins and losses, you watch that thing disintegrate there.
Yeah, but here's the problem that I have with your argument there. I don't disagree about the potential for problems there. I get you on all fronts. But when we talk about the Jets, why are you focusing more on Le'Veon Bell than you are on Adam Gase? All Le'Veon Bell did was sign a contract to come to the Jets. Whether you think that it was worth spending that much money on him or not, he was widely considered one of, if not the best in the league. He sat out last year, no mileage on his body whatsoever. You're the New York Jets. You don't have a definitive number 1 receiver. Not that deserves to be a number 1 receiver. You got a second-year quarterback in Sam Darnold. You had a suspect running game and what have you. You had a suspect passing game. This guy goes a long way towards helping you solve those things. And it ain't the first time Adam Gase has worked in a situation where he's had guys on his roster who were overpaid. So how does Le'Veon Bell signing excuse Adam Gase from apparently sort of backstabbing or usurping the authority of Mike McCagnon and ultimately getting him booted out the door? How do you gloss over that, Carlton?
Mike McCagnon was a disaster. They just shipped their first-round draft pick, Darren Lee, out to the Chiefs for what was it, a 6th
stop right
or
there.
a
Stop right
7th
there.
round
Stop.
pick?
Hold
Remember
on.
Christian
Six. Hold on. Wait a minute, Carlton. Listen to my question. Because remember, they could have, and one could argue they should have gotten rid of McCagnon when they got rid of Bowles, but they waited. What I'm saying is, apparently, they thought about keeping him, but then Adam Gase worked his way into the equation. 5 days earlier, he was claiming that the reports were taking him off because of reports about him having differences with McCagnon. And then the next thing you know, McCagnon is gone and Adam Gase's fingerprints are all over the place. That's the point. It's not about whether or not Maccagnan could have been gone. It's how he ended up leaving and when he ended up leaving. That's not about Johnson and the Jets. That's about Gase. What has Gase done to deserve the right to be able to pull something like that off, Carlton?
Maybe Gase just convinced the Johnsons that Maccagnan had been a disaster for the last 4 or 5 years, which he had. And I don't know. I don't know the internal politics of it. I have no problem with Maccagnan being gone. He should have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, but I don't either. But I'm asking you. But you don't have a problem with Gase being able to be the one to pull that off? What has he done to be in a position to pull it off?
Again, maybe he just opened his eyes. Maybe he just opened the Johnson's eyes that the guy should have been gone. And perhaps the Le'Veon Bell signing was the final straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. And and Johnson came around and said, we way overpaid for this guy. Here's what I will say: Le'Veon Bell had better be on his best behavior the next couple of years. He got a bucket load of money, far less than he wanted from the Steelers. Remember, he wanted over $17 million a year from the Steelers. He wanted to be paid as if he was a star wide receiver. But if he just helps continue the dysfunction in the New York Jets because of unhappiness, which he's been unhappy for the longest time in the NFL, he'll get blamed for a lot of it. And so he better watch his P's and Q's because he's already gotten 2 senior executives fired, it appears, from the New York Jets for their decision to sign the guy.
Carlton, appreciate you, man. Missed you. Glad you called in today, buddy. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon. Take it easy. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. That's my buddy Carlton. Calls from Tampa every now and then. Fantastic caller. Always love having him on the show. Deontay Wilder, heavyweight champion, up next with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, people, I'm here to tell you about Zelle, a quick and easy way to send and receive money right from your banking app. Not sure what to get someone for their birthday, graduation, or housewarming? Send them money with Zelle, a truly one-size-fits-all present so they can buy whatever they want. The money goes directly into their bank account, typically within minutes if they are already enrolled with Zelle, so they don't have to wait long to spend it on the perfect gift for themselves. Look for Zelle in your banking app or get more info at ZellePay.com. Terms and conditions apply. I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody. My brother Bomani Jones is in another booth looking at me. I love that brother. I don't want to talk to you today. I've got producers who have been very, very good to me. I've got bosses who have been very, very good to me. I've got co-workers that I love. I don't want to talk to anybody. My godson, Jonathan Barnes, is sitting right in front of me, and I don't want to look at him. I'm ticked off. I mean, this is just, and Sean Farnham on Get Up this morning with Mike Greenberg, him and his Benedict Arnold self, walking around having shows on television in the morning, acting like this is just a good day to just laugh. It's always a laugh with the New York Knicks for non-New York Knicks fans. I thought Mike Greenberg was a good man. I thought he was a person that didn't like to watch people suffer. And then that damn Pablo out there with Bomani, he's standing in the hallway laughing at me too. This is not funny. It's not funny. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible day. I don't know about the rest of yous. But if you are a Knicks fan, this is the equivalent of being kidnapped, stored in a basement, being tortured, and then they let you out when you're of no use to anybody. I mean, you just can't make this up. I'm telling you right now, I got an attitude with everybody. Every damn body. Even that damn Spike Lee, I heard he's in the Philippines. He's lucky he's not New York City.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. It's presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive gives you multiple quote options so you can pick what's right for you. See for yourself at progressive.com. Plus, you know what never goes out of style? Surprising a friend or loved one with buy one, get one free multicolored rose bouquets for $29.99 from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Any moment now, we'll have our guest on the line. It will be the WBC World Heavyweight Champion, the one and only Deontay Wilder, 40-0 with 39 KOs. He is on the line with us right now. What's going on, my brother? How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. First of all, thanks for coming on TV with me yesterday. Really enjoyed having you. Wanted to talk to you before we even get into this fight Saturday night at the Barclays Center when you go against Dominique Brazil. Apparently, the WBC, and let me preface my comment with some commentary. I think this is utterly ridiculous, but they want their investigator, according to Mauricio Suleiman, he tweeted that the WBC will hold a hearing into your comments, quote, "This is the only sport where you can kill a man and get paid for it at the same time. It's legal, so why not use my right hand to do so?" Deontay Wilder, you're the WBC heavyweight champion. You just heard what the WBC has intimated. Your response, sir?
I mean, my thing is, what have I said that wasn't true? You know, what have I said that any fighter that came before me haven't said? There's one particular individual that have said way more worse things than I could ever say in one sentence. I speak my piece. This is the sport that we signed up with. This is the sport that I signed up to do. I risk my life in that ring. So as me, an individual, to risk my life for other entertainment, I can say whatever I please. This is people come. I'm doing this for others' entertainment. People can take my words as what they want. If they don't like it, don't watch it. But nothing I said that ain't true. Nothing I said that hasn't been said before. So why people want to take into consideration now? Look what's going on in the world, Stephen A. People want to put their energy towards the words that I say, but look what's going on in the world with so many killings going on right now. So many different brutalities going on right now, but I don't see nobody putting towards no energy and having no conflict to try to resolve that. How many of man, come on with it. How many of people have suffered with how many innocent killing has been going on? Ain't nobody putting no energy towards that, but they want to say something. I say, man, get out of here with that.
Well, listen, let me say this to you. First of all, anybody that knows anything about boxing understands that you're putting your life at risk when you step into the ring. And what you were talking about is that, hey, you go into the ring understanding that one punch can take you out of here. You've knocked some people out. You've given them concussions. You've rendered them unconscious. You've done things like that. So I know that's what you were alluding to. But I think the only thing that's relevant about this, Deontay, this ain't some fans or this ain't the media. This is the WBC sanctioning body, the belt that you hold. They're talking about investigating you. That's what makes this pertinent. And in that regard,
what? To investigate what? What is to investigate?
That's what they said. They want to talk.
PEDs. Hey, if anything, they need to investigate these PED users. Why people keep bringing them back in the sport? My words is one thing, but the action is another. These guys use PED. Their action is speaking louder than what I can say in a million years. Now, you say I'm all natural. Now, when these guys use PED, putting things in their body where get rat cancer and all this and stuff, they go in there, they physically trying to do it. My words is what? Let's face it, it's just my words. Now, my action could be another thing. Who said that's going to really happen? My words is my words. So, I mean... People got to hold their feelings aside. They got to put their little soft-hearted feelings aside. They'll never understand what we got to go through when we step over that ring and that bell say ding and risk our life for others' entertainment, like I said. So what is to investigate? I ain't putting it in my body to make it happen. This is off of natural ability. This is just off of words of my mouth. Let's see what happens come Saturday night.
And that's right. That's where I'm going, because Dominic Brazil obviously is somebody that you don't like. You've had history with this guy. He said some things about you, coming at him, accused you of talking about his wife and kids and things of that nature. You've made it very, very clear there's no love lost between you two. Talk to me about your feelings about Dominic Brazil and what chance he has against you this Saturday night at the Barclays Center.
I can't stand him. He's an uppity Negro. He thinks he's better than everyone. Everyone wants to be politically correct. Everyone wants to talk proper. Everyone wants to make sure their words come out correctly. I speak how I feel. I ain't hear nobody talking about when he threatened my brother and when he threatened to kill my family. I didn't hear no one say anything about that, did they? But because it's come out of Deontay Wilder's mouth, because Deontay Wilder possesses the power to do so, it's something that we should take in consideration. Nah, it shouldn't be two-way. It shouldn't be one way. It got to be two ways around this thing. He started this commotion. He started the chaos, and I have the power to finish it. That's all I'm saying.
Are you concerned about yourself at all in this regard, that you might want to take him out so bad that you might get a little bit anxious, you might make a mistake, you might not be the typical Deontay Wilder that's knocked out 39 of your 40 opponents? Is it possible that there could be some slippage on your part because you want to take this guy out so badly that you're a bit too emotional for this fight?
Not at all, because I understand that boxing
I mean, damn it! It never, ever goes our way. And that damn Golick and Wingo on the radio show this morning, Trey Wingo, it's that Golick calling me up. We just want to make sure you're okay. You don't care. You can pretend all you want. You didn't care about me. Adrian Wojnarowski, our ultimate insider. You see that look of glee on his face? I know he's objective. I know he's just giving you out the information. But did he have to have that smile on his face, Nuno, when he was giving us the news about the New York Knicks? And that damn Mark Tatum, the deputy commissioner of the NBA, him too. I got an attitude with him too. Why the hell does he have to hold those cards? I bet you if somebody else was holding, I bet you if Adam Silver was the one announcing the picks, the Knicks would have had the number one overall pick. I'm blaming Tatum too. The Knicks can't catch a break to save their damn lives. Can't catch a break. All you gave us James Dolan all of these years. We can't win basketball games. We can't be relevant. Prior to this, last 20 years, it was the Patrick Ewing era, but Michael Jordan kept standing in his way, and Dave Checketts kept lying to us, making us believe we had a chance with Jordan when we knew good and damn well we never had a chance. Before that, you got the Trent Tuckers and Rory Sparrows of the world. Before that, you had Bernard King, or even during that. New York Knicks haven't won a title since 1973. I was 5 years old. 5. I'm 51 years old. It is 46 years and counting that the New York Knicks haven't won a title. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Had they gotten Zion Williamson via the number one overall pick last night, it'd have felt like a title. But we couldn't even get that. I blame the Knicks organization too. What the hell you bring Patrick Ewing up there for? He's not Dave DeBusschere, God rest his soul.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Man, and the Stephen A. Smith Podcast brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One, hey, what's in your wallet? Capital One, NA member, FDIC. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get on out of here, let me say this about Deontay Wilder, the reigning WBC heavyweight champion of the world, going up against Dominique Breazeale this Saturday night at the Barclays Center. Look for it on Showtime. Deontay Wilder is absolutely right. What the hell did he do that warrants an investigation? He said, I don't give a damn how polarizing or how incendiary his language was. Mike Tyson once talked about how he wanted to hit you at the tip of the nose so he could put your nose up into your brain. And several fighters alluded to not caring if somebody lived or died in the ring for a reason. That's why a referee is in the ring. And that's why there's rules and regulations that you have to abide by. And as long as Deontay Wilder is not talking about breaking the rules, as long as he's talking about using his right hand legally, he should be able to say what the hell he wants. It is the stupidest thing that boxing has done recently. And that's saying a lot. Talk to y'all in 22 hours. Until then, peace and love.
LeBron James ran the Eastern Conference for almost a decade.